Hello, old friend.
Oh! Get in!
Hello, welcome to our Recap Plus channel with me, Matthew. Today we will watch a recap movie called Infinite, released in 2021. This is a spoiler content video. So please turn on the subtitle and let's start the story. Some individuals in the world possess flawless memories of their previous lives. These unique individuals are known as infinites and are further categorized into two groups. On one hand, there are the believers, dedicated to utilizing their knowledge for the protection and advancement of all humanity. On the other hand, those opposing them are termed nihilists, viewing their ability to potentially end all life on Earth through modern technology as a curse. In a high-speed car chase in 1985 in Mexico City, Heinrich Treadway attempted to evade the authorities and a man named Bathurst. During the pursuit, he informs his associates, Abel and Leona, about the egg, which Treadway had stolen earlier from Bathurst. Despite successfully avoiding some of the pursuing officers, Treadway finds himself on a closed bridge. Abel and Leona, following the chase in another vehicle, warn him not to proceed to the bridge. Nevertheless, Treadway disobeys his friends, driving through the barrier and instructing Abel that if he does not survive, he must remember to look inside. He eventually drives off the cliff, in mid-air, and manages to grab a nearby crane. Meanwhile, Bathurst arrives and drives a truck into Abel and Leona's car. Afterward, he gets out of the truck and shoots the car, resulting in the demise of both Abel and Leona, leaving Treadway helpless by the crane. Shifting to New York City in 2020, a man named Evan McCauley awakens from a dream, gasping for air, as if he had just experienced a nightmare that was real. He attends a job interview at a restaurant, where the interviewer mentions Evan's violent past behavior, including an assault on a customer at a former restaurant for misbehaving with a waitress. Additionally, the interviewer is aware of Evan's schizophrenia. Evan defends himself, stating that the incident occurred a few years ago and promises not to repeat it. However, he is ultimately refused the job. That night, desperate for money to buy schizophrenia medication, Evan, despite lacking any expertise in bladesmithing, forges a katana for a local dealer named Ronnie. He sells the katana in exchange for antipsychotic medications. Ronnie's girlfriend is intrigued by Evan and attempts to flirt with him. An enraged Ronnie tries to cut off her hand, prompting Evan to fight back, free the girl, and escape with the sword when Ronnie shoots at him from a distance. Subsequently, Evan hallucinates sliding down a snowy mountain and screaming for Leona, but in reality, he jumps from a building, falls into a car, knocks himself out, and gets arrested by the police. Elsewhere, an elderly man named Brian Porter discusses Evan's earlier incident with a machine voice, suspecting that Evan is the reincarnated Treadway. At the police station, Bathurst introduces himself to Evan while holding the katana, referring to Evan as Treadway and claiming they've known each other for centuries. Bathurst presents several items from his bag and asks Evan to identify which one is his. When Bathurst hands him a slingshot, Evan has a flashback and recalls the slingshot from his previous lives. Shortly after, a car crashes into the custody room, and a girl emerges, shooting Evan's handcuffs and ordering him to get into the car immediately. Bathurst gets into his armored car and pursues them. They drive through the police station, and the girl instructs Evan to take the wheel after pressing a car button that retracts the wheel and places it on Evan's seat. The police also arrive to shoot at Evan's car and block his path. Fortunately, Nora fires a special high-tech bullet at the cops, which destroys them after detonating, allowing them to escape from Bathurst. Following that, Nora takes the wheel once more and reveals her name as Nora Brightman. Evan learns from her that he and Bathurst should have known each other for a long time but not in this life. Perplexed by what he has witnessed, Evan believes it might be the result of his antipsychotic medication. Nora then drives to a hangar and informs him that he has been reincarnated in this new life with a special ability to remember every memory from his previous lives. However, Evan remains skeptical. She invites him to board the plane to get answers to all of his questions from the group she is a part of. Meanwhile, Bathurst behaves strangely after being informed by his subordinate, Agent Shin, that Evan and Nora took an unlisted flight from an unknown airport. He instructs her to find them so he can locate the egg, as he has done in the past. Back on the plane, Nora starts telling Evan about the infinites and their two factions, believers and nihilists. She informs him that they are both believers, whereas Bathurst is a nihilist. Evan awakens from his sleep a few hours later, finding himself in an unusual location, and Nora reveals that this location is known as the Hub. When they arrive, they meet Trace, a believer who teaches Japanese martial arts in the hub. Nora takes Evan to Treadway's office to show him his diary, which contains a photo of them in the snowy mountains. She finally admits that Treadway saved her life in the mountains, and she lived as Leona in that life. This is exactly what Evan envisioned when he fell into a car. They also meet Garrick, the head of technology and research, who asks Evan to look over her virtual sandbox. She then shows a hologram, telling the story of Bathurst. Bathurst used to be Treadway's comrade, and they spent centuries fighting alongside each other. But one day, Bathurst lost faith and became disillusioned with the believer's mission, attempting to end reincarnation. As a result, he created the egg, designed to kill all living things on Earth. It attacks the source of life, DNA, unraveling the very fabric of existence, resulting in the extinction of all living things. Nora informs Evan that in the previous cycle, he raided Bathurst's lab, stole the egg, and murdered everyone who assisted him in its construction. As a result, Bathurst cannot recreate the egg on his own, and Treadway takes it to his grave as well. That is why Bathurst tracked him down in New York. Simultaneously, the believers must retrieve his memories and secure the egg before Bathurst captures Evan and tortures him. Evan eventually realizes everything he needs to do to regain his memories, including remembering where the egg is, to save the entire world. Meanwhile, Bathurst and his men attack Brian, a believer's employee who knows where Evan is. They torture him initially to extract information, but he does not reveal anything and is eventually killed. The believers apparently recover Treadway's body and return to the hub, where it is kept in a chamber. Science underlying their reincarnation. Garrick also discusses the abilities and superpowers that lie dormant within their subconscious minds. As a result, Evan begins training to regain his superpowers in the coming days. Garrick and Nora have even shocked his mind into synchronization with the system. Later, they believe Evan's memories are gradually returning due to the shock sessions. He recalls his past life as Treadway, fighting with Bathurst on the top of the crane not long after Abel and Leona died, during a train ride with his new partner, Kovich. Evan then visits Kovich's gun labs, where he is reverse engineering Bathurst's gun, the Dethroner. It stores the souls of the infinites in a digital chip, preventing them from being reincarnated. Evan goes to Nora's room, where she meditates. She tells him about Abel, including their plan to always meet at the beginning, located in Encore What after reincarnation. Abel was also unable to reincarnate in his current life because he was shot by the Dethroner. She then reveals that the infinites begin to remember things when they are young. They have forgotten everything by the time they reach puberty. This is why Evan was previously diagnosed as schizophrenic. Despite their progress, Evan is having difficulty recalling Treadway's memories. Garrick claims that the steel plate in his head from his previous accident is preventing him from remembering. As a last resort, they decide to seek assistance from another believer known as the Artist. The next day, Bathurst and his soldiers break into the hub. As the power goes out, he captures everyone there and confronts Garrick. He complains about being trapped in life over and over, so he needs Treadway to find the egg. Fortunately, Evan, Leona, Kovich, and Trace go to the casino, searching for the artisan, who is operating a dead body in the back room. Nora informs him that Bathurst has taken control of the hub and introduces him to Evan as the reincarnated Treadway. He shows Evan his machine, which can enhance Evan's memories by drowning him inside. Still, it also has the potential to kill him inside. He reluctantly agrees to proceed, and the machine begins to fill with water. It begins beeping red lights, as he gradually regains memories of his previous lives. However, the session must be terminated midway because he loses his pulse. When Nora attempts to revive his heart, he finally recalls Treadway splitting open his stomach and hiding the egg inside, which is still in his preserved body in the hub. Bathurst arrives at the casino at the same time, watching and listening to them on his tablet. So now he knows where the egg is and directs his soldiers to retrieve it. Agent Shin shoots Trace out of nowhere. While Bathurst's soldiers slowly barge in, the group initiates a lockdown at the artisan's premises. Evan tells them to stop running and fight, but Trace dies in the process. Kovich agrees to fight back and fights Bathurst and his soldiers alone, telling the others to flee to safety. After breaking in, the soldiers are killed by bullets fired from all directions in the room. Bathurst is still alive and guarded by one of his soldiers. Kovich initially attacks Bathurst, but he is eventually shot by the Dethroner. Bathurst then returns Treadway's body to Scotland. He cuts open his stomach and discovers the egg within. He hands it over to Agent Shin to see if the egg is genuine. Sometime later, Evan awakens in the artisan's safe house and wants to stop Bathurst right away, despite the artisan's warning. After Agent Shin confirms the authenticity of the egg, Bathurst instructs her to load the device with the egg onto the plane. Meanwhile, Nora shoots Bathurst from a distance, but he avoids the bullet. He then dispatches assassin drones to attack her. She jumps off the cliff, clinging to the rope, and heads for the forest. Bathurst's soldiers pursue her, but she eventually knocks them down. After some time has passed, Evan and the artist arrive in a helicopter to save Nora, shooting all of the killer drones. Evan exits the helicopter and takes Nora in a vehicle. Bathurst prepares for his flight by inserting the egg into the device. Evan and Nora attempt to reach Bathurst's mansion, but their car is shot down by Agent Shin. They are also ambushed by Bathurst's soldiers, spotting Bathurst leaving in a plane from a distance. Evan decides to leave Bathurst alone and boards a motorcycle to catch the plane, leaving Nora behind to free all the believers from the digital chips at Bathurst's mansion. Nora then confronts Agent Shin, killing her, but Bathurst's soldiers continue to attack her. Fortunately, the artisan arrives just in time to kill the soldiers from the helicopter. After that, he and Nora enter the mansion, where they encounter all digital chip believers. On the other side, Evan rides his motorcycle off a cliff and onto the plane with his sword. His motorcycle crushes the engine, causing the pilot to lose control. Bathurst uses the plane to try to get Evan off the roof. However, Evan experiences a strange sensation in his body, indicating that he has gained his subconscious superpowers, allowing him to stand on the plane. He then uses his sword to open the upper hatch and enters inside. Unfortunately, he later passes out, shot by Bathurst while attempting to destroy the egg. He awakens while examining it and reveals that the steel plate in his head saved his life by deflecting the dethroner's bullet. As the plane begins to fall, the two of them continue to fight. Bathurst cuts the device's strings, sending it flying off the plane. Evan jumps out of the plane, followed by Bathurst. Evan can stop the countdown, pulling out the egg, as the two fight again in midair. He attacks Bathurst with his sword, shooting him with a dethroner, ensuring that Bathurst will not be reborn in the next life. And Evan drowns in the ocean while carrying the egg. Back at the mansion, Nora and the artisan use a bomb to destroy the digital chips, liberating the souls of the Bathurst believers, including Abel. Several years later, Nora and Abel are reborn in the next life, and they meet at the beginning. Evan is seen as a young boy in a sword fight match in Jakarta, Indonesia. He wins the match, while the artist, who is now older, looks on silently. He pays him a visit and hands over a katana he made in a previous life. Evan regains his memories upon recognizing him.